Episode 3 of Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2 Hidden Inventory 3 just came out, and I think this episode is the perfect example of what highlights this arc and what is kind of lackluster about this arc. So if you guys are not caught up with the anime yet, just go cry in the corner, and then before you leave, do me a favor, hit the like button. Alright, so let's jump right into it. So by no means is this episode or this arc like bad. If you guys seen a lot of my videos or seen a few of my videos before, I like to nitpick little things. I think it could be a little bit better, but this episode gave us what we want. You have Suguru, Gojo, and then you have Toji making his grand entrance. But really, for me, it's always about the newer characters, because anytime an anime introduces newer characters, for me, it's very important to have some kind of attachment to them. Reading the manga, that's why in the manga, I wasn't too attached to these characters, because in the manga, things fly by a lot faster. The anime has to fill out an entire 20-25 minute episode, so they get to fill in certain gaps to kind of make you connect to it and insert in certain music. So Riko, Aminai, and Kuroi, her maid, these are very central characters to the arc, because Riko's this character, she has to assimilate with Tengen, and I don't even think we've seen Tengen yet in the anime, so all that really it's confusing. I know it's confusing for me. And then you have Kuroi, all of a sudden she's got kidnapped. So that leads me into really the first half of the episode, which the pacing, just like the manga, they literally just skipped Gojo and Suguru saving the maid. But in the anime, I think they added in a couple more scenes to, they added in that humor just going in to save the maid, which is great. But man, it just frustrates me because now I get to talk about that manga part. The pacing, when you do a backstory, there's a lot of things we already know, and there's already a lot of things we expect. So it's gonna be hard to introduce things that are out of our expectations. So there are things in this episode that are totally out of everyone's expectations if you watch it or read it for the first time. So really, to me, the pacing was the bad part, and I wouldn't say it's like terrible or anything. They just skipped through a lot of things in the arc, but really they did make an attempt to kind of build up Riko as a character that we can relate to, because her position is really the worst, right? Your entire life, your goal is basically to be erased, to essentially die. Like, you're not gonna live a normal life. So knowing that your entire life that you're not gonna be normal, you can't have the life that other people, like most other people, have. That's actually very, very relatable. There's a lot of things that we can connect to this character. So by the time we got to the end of the episode, how that scene set up when Riko got headshot by Toji at the end, that part of the story actually hits really good. That is a WTF moment, but that connection to Riko, how we connect to her, it hits harder, right? So if this is a character, like when Toji first showed up for the first time halfway through the episode and just impaled Gojo, that probably hit me more than what the headshot hit for Riko. Because Gojo, we are connected to that character. This is like almost everyone's favorite character. So Riko is this other character. We're just like, she's like a level above the NPC. But I mean, crap, dude. Their mission, really in our heads, the mission failed for Gojo and Suguru rather than us feeling that bad for Riko. So if we actually were well connected to the character, then that would have hit the most. But in reality, as like the reader or the watcher of the anime, you're like, damn, Suguru and Gojo just messed up. So that's kind of a weird kind of connection that I had in my head when, I witnessed this scene for the first time. But what's great though, that attempt to make Riko us connect to the character, they did this beautiful scene. And in the manga, they emphasized this too, because it held like a whole 2 pages of the panels of Riko at this kind of like aquarium or whatever. They added in this music. I actually really, really love that scene. It made us really connect to her having fun and messing around with Gojo, which is really nice. Their interactions just building her up as just this ordinary kind of girl that, she just wants to live her high school life. I mean, this is very, very important to kind of build that connection to the character. But that's all we really have. We have like all in entirety, maybe almost an episode's worth of us connecting to her as a character. So yeah, that is pretty much the only bad really about this episode. Other than that, they gave us what we want. What the hell did we want, man? We have Toji, baby. He came in and just impaled our boy Gojo like it was nothing. That was an incredible entrance, and just the fight overall was just incredible. And they kind of changed a little bit in the anime. I think he used blue Ao, but I think in the manga they call it Azure or something. I guess maybe that might have been the same thing. I don't know. They called the move. I thought it was a little bit different. Maybe it's the same thing. You guys correct me if I'm wrong or whatever. But yeah, that entire fight is like as expected. It's just, this is where the animation, everything that they did in this episode is better than the manga. Everything, even like my deal with the pacing, the anime did it better. It's just, like I said, it was just a little confusing because they just skipped by things like really fast. The transitions were, it was just kind of off-putting for me. At the end of the day, that stuff doesn't really matter. It just kind of builds up to Suguru, Gojo, and Toji. So as the adaptation of the anime from the manga of setting up every single scene since the middle of the episode when Gojo fights Toji all the way up to that epic headshot of Rico, that whole build up to building up Rico, like just at the very end, just her building that emotion of like, you know, I don't want to assimilate with this whatever freak Tengen thing is. I want to live a normal life. I want to live with my maid. I want to have connections with people. I want to just be normal. And that takes me to one other, there's some little subtle differences in the manga. It's not really actually that worthy to talk about, but when she does like the little flashback, when she talks about how she was always special, she always knew that she was special when she was younger. In the anime, they did a way better job. Like the animation for just like the anime only kind of canon scenes, those look really good. In the manga, like, you know, in the manga, what do? They showed her a little bit naked. But for what the anime did, how they adapted some of these parts where in the manga, it just tries to get to the point and it's just a little bit more basic in the manga. In the anime, they really bring a lot of these scenes to life. And that's what makes this season and this arc in this anime just incredible because you feel a lot more immersed. Yep, so yeah guys, there's a lot of things I still want to talk about, especially when it comes to Toji. So we'll get to that to the next episode. But overall, this is a really, really great episode. It's a better adaptation than if you read it in the manga. So, I mean, if you guys are only watching the anime, I would recommend just only watch the anime and then maybe go back to the manga because the anime, you feel the immersion in it and they do a great job trying to build up this connection to Rico because for me, like, if you're only there for a handful of manga, like, chapters, you're scrolling through all these, like, panels and it goes by really, really fast. But if you have at least 2-3 episodes where you kind of get to connect a little bit more to these characters, they do a good job to make the attempt to make you feel more for these characters. So, I mean, the fight scene was amazing. Toji epic entrance, just incredible powers. One last thing about Toji is this is a backstory. When you do a backstory, right, it's supposed to tell you more about the future. But for me, Toji is the reverse. Toji is someone that is going to help prop up other characters, help prop up the story more as these episodes go. So I'm like super fascinated. This is why I like this character so much because his introduction and what he brings to the story helps propel himself as, you know, we move back to the, you know, present timeline. It just makes everything more epic as the story goes on. So we'll get to that whenever we get to that point. And it's really hard to talk about these things without, you know, the spoilers. But I still love the episode. Some things I nitpick here and there. Sure, pacing's not that great. It could get a little bit confusing. But who's the stars? The stars are Satoru Gojo, Suguru Geto, Toji Fushiguro, and just amazing animation, top tier animation, and then that's all we could really ask for. So yeah guys, let me know what you guys thought about this episode. What do you guys thought about the pacing? What do you guys think about these more very, very important characters to the plot, but you know, headshot? One other thing that I really liked about the episode, it shows that missions fail. Like, you can't save everyone. So the fact that she got headshotted, it kind of proves that, you know, there are downfalls, there are pitfalls, there are things that you're supposed to do, but you still kind of don't accomplish it. So I'll leave it at that. Let me know what you guys think. So yeah, Do me a favor, guys, hit the like button, subscribe to this channel if you guys haven't already. Check out my blog at otakusen.com. Check out my anime collectibles channel, Otakusen, as well, where I collect plastic and cardboard. So I'll meet you guys over there, and I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video.